Howdy Gaio. Today we're looking at Alex Toth, once again, a book called One for the Road. Today we are going to take a look at a story in here that is Alex Toth telling a story on Big Daddy Ed Roth. Now, if you don't know who Ed Roth is, he was a contemporary of Toth, a famous hot rodder guy in the 50s and 60s, and he did everything. Well, one of the things he's most famous for is making something called the Rat Fink, and also these crazy like monsters driving hot rods that are super cartoony, gigantic wheels, and really good stuff. And just about any kind of hot rod, from Chevelles to Impalas to Corvettes to Mustangs, everything he drew, usually with a gigantic monster with a huge shifter hanging out of the top of the car. Did a bunch of hot rods as well. Some of them they were more to look at than to drive. I don't even know if some of them ran, but a super innovative guy. And so we have here this Alex Toth guy, a collection of his stories, and he is doing a story on Roth. Now, I wonder if the guys knew each other personally. I do know that they did work on some other magazines called Cartoons or Drag Tunes, spelled Toons. A lot of just drag racing culture stuff. And this is a throwback to that. So let's get into the story. Now, first thing here is wonderful waves. I love when people draw waves well. Water is really tough to draw, but he does a pretty good job at it. It's one of those things that's both simple and really easy to mess up at the same time. And also something about Toth, he's a hot rod guy, but he loves airplanes, aviation stuff, so you will see that stuff snuck in there as well. So the first shot here, Roth, right in the middle of the page, really good directional device to point you to the rest of the story. And we look in here, it's almost some copied reference stuff where you see on his surfboard there's a bunch of stickers of his work. You see Rat Fink right there, and then some of those big hot rods with the monster. Oh, sorry, waving it around here a little bit, guy. So big dragster monsters driving souped up hot rods. So that's the story here. Now, so he goes to jump out in the waves. He's in the waves. The thing that Toth does really well is telling the story with negative space. We see it with the surfboard, just this big piece of black. Really simple panel design using simple shapes and colors to convey the idea. The waves here. And so what the story is Roth is out surfing with his buddies, and he wipes out, and his buddies can't find him. Now, it even makes me giggle a little bit. I had to reshoot this. This is the second or third shot because this panel cracked me up so much that I guffawed and hem-hawed my way through the other ones, and I couldn't stop just kind of cracking up. It would just surprise me because you read something, but you don't pay attention to it too closely. Sometimes I'm looking more at the art. But anyway, there's this panel down here where it's his two buddies. They go looking for him, they can't find him, and and they're like, that's kaput. I guess he's gone. And then the other kid's like, well, what do you want his board? And I guess I was thinking about that, the commentary on that. Just what it's like to be a kid. You're just not worried about anything, even if it's a disaster. And also the funny thing about these stories is these stories are supposed to be humorous, which they are, but yeah, I mean, you look at the grimace on Toad's face right here at the cover. He was a legendary grumpy guy, and all the stories in this book are all funny, and which kind of makes me happy because I have a job where I guess I call myself, well, I won't say the thing, but I'm professionally grumpy. Let's just keep it at that. And so I can relate to that, that sometimes life turns you into something that you don't necessarily want to be, but that's what you are. So it makes me happy to laugh when sometimes there aren't always a lot of laughs to be had. So love the simple panel design, love the joke. And so where is Toth? Oh, Toth, keep calling him Toth. Where is Roth? Well, he goes through the bottom of the ocean into some kind of surf Valhalla. And so he goes down through the waves, all this stuff, and there's a beach party over the sand dune. What's going on? And somebody says, "Hey, man," and of course it's a pretty girl, and so first he's flexing here, which I kind of like, just kind of cracks me up. And so there's this girl that she's just telling about everything going on. It's like it's all parties here, fun, fun, fun. And so it just talks about he's gone to some kind of surf Valhalla, like I said. And so I love the little like, ooh. It just like, what a great way to convey just like, just being tickled. And then, again, good black and white right here. So everything's happy. Beach parties, surfing, and again, we have a lot of this silhouette storytelling. This is my favorite panel in this story. I keep going the wrong way. This is my favorite panel in the story, the drag racing thing. So everything a 60s teenager could want. Beach parties, drag racing, surfing, all that stuff. And I love the dragsters here. You could tell exactly what those are by the outline. That is something that is really easy and really tough at the same time. I mean, think about just taking black and white and making a shape out of it, and then you're able to tell what it is. So anyway, so it's all good times. And also, again, another bit of phraseology from a long gone era is they're all singing on the beach party here, and they call it hoot nannies, and so it shows him singing blowing in the wind, kind of a deal. And so he just happy, everything is good all the time. And then all of a sudden there's a problem. Of course there's a problem. So on the last page here, he's thinking, oh, it's only good times. It's only, it's like, how can you have life only with the good things? It's some of it's unstated. So he's like, hey, life is more than that. And it's like, stop it, cool it, quit. Again, a good facial expression. And then he's outed as a traitor, and so they're calling him all names: jerk, rat, spoiler, crud. Get rid of him, all that. And of course, the top center name they call him is a rat fink, which is great. I just caught it again. Okay, and then his thing is rat fink. It just cracks me up that, and I wonder if the point of the comic is Roth's idea for the rat fink is when he got kicked out of Surf Valhalla, which tickles me and I hope is true. And again, so he makes everybody mad, gets kicked out, and so he comes back to his buddies, and goes back to his buddies, and they're like, "Man, we thought you were gone." Or he's like, "Yep. Well, let's go back to school, I guess." And then the surfmobile there, which is a really neat drawing. The surfboard's hanging out of the back, and if you're drawing hot rods, get those wheels off the ground, man. That's the best way to convey motion. And again, so there's a little bit of connectedness there where the car's off the ground, but the smoke is tying it to the ground a little bit, which is great. So that is an Ed Roth story done by Alex Toth. So I hope you enjoyed that. Generally on the channel, I like to talk about the things you can learn from this guy, or anybody, any artist I feature. Spotting your blacks, telling your story in as few lines as possible. Again, using your lights and darks to tell your story, to bring things, give you depth of feel and everything. So yeah, really good stuff. So until next time, I guess keep hot rodding. Boop.